assessment, the investigatory part of the allegations, okay?
Okay,
Our
and
agency, Sampson, will be working with the family toward reunification, if that's the plan, for the foster care end.
okay.
Okay?
Because my concern is this is like day 21, and I've never been contacted, never been talked to. I've called several times, and I've been here several times. And until the night of March 7th, I had no idea of anything.
Okay, and now in regard, when you say you've never been contacted, my first contact with you in regard to coming out here was yesterday. When
Correct.
I was to come, okay?
That's 20 days later.
Absolutely. But you have had knowledge and contact with Cumberland County as well as we have been available to you to call at any point in time.
I came here and was denied.
No, I think you came. I'm not going to say you were denied because we sat down with you. You came one day wanting information regarding the visit that Ms. Dudley did at the Midway High School.
It was March 10th,
Right.
and I wasn't allowed to talk to Miss Dudley or anyone from Sampson County, only a lady from Cumberland.
Because they're doing it. Exactly.
Right, but what I'm saying is it normal or protocol that a parent doesn't know anything until officers are at his door?
Cumberland County had gone out, to my understanding, prior to, you said, officers at the door. That incident that occurred was on the 7th, but Cumberland County had tried to be in contact with you prior to that. And again, I'm stating what was revealed in court by Mr. Smith, the social worker in Cumberland.
Mr. Smith never asked me any questions about Cheyenne or indicated anything.
Okay, well, again, let me just say this. We're not here to bicker.
And I'm not. I'm making sure that nothing is said on that. I want to make sure everybody understands exactly what's going on, because I have read your manual, I have read the laws, I have read the protocols, and not one thing in there makes any sense with what's going on, nor does it line up with the facts of what's happening here legally.
Okay, well, all I can say to you, Mr. Davis, at this point, we want to move on. We want to answer any questions that you may have regarding the foster care, okay? The foster care end. At this point, you know, we're here to talk to you about the need for Cheyenne and the plan to have her reunified with you, if that's what our goal is. And
that is my goal.
Exactly. I would hope that that's your goal, and that's what our goal is as well. But before that can happen, it has to play out. And when I say in court, you've already mentioned a non-secure hearing. I think the next court hearing is scheduled for April the 24th.
Right.
In the meantime, Cumberland County is still working the assessment in. I think there are some evaluation things that are to be done through Cumberland County. But we're here to assist with helping you get services if needed, along with Cheyenne, and answer any questions that you may have regarding her foster care. Her placement is currently with a licensed foster parent. Okay? It's licensed through the state. She's doing well. She has re-enrolled in another school. I think you had some questions, concerns regarding her well-being since she was taken to, and medical documentation to show that she was taken for an evaluation, but she seemed to be doing well. She didn't have any emotional issues that would cause her to need to be committed. She's doing well. Do you have any questions regarding her care at this point?
I do.
Okay.
There were questions raised because of a statement made by Attorney Bradshaw that Cheyenne was recently cutting and mutilating herself.
I think that was some of the report that we did receive, that she has been a cutter in the past.
No, he said recently, and that was the thing we brought that up because I showed where in December of 2013 or 2012, I had no idea when I went down to pick up Cheyenne after her mother had her there for 4 months. She started telling me all the way home for 5 hours, and I never even stopped. I mean, I didn't come on home. I stopped at Cape Fear Valley and had her evaluated. But since then, she's been in therapy. and she does not cut. She uses no drugs. She needs no drugs. She's done fine. And this thing of using the fact that she was in therapy against her is probably the worst and most coercive, awful thing I've ever seen. Why go to therapy if it's going to be used against you when it works?
I don't think anybody's trying to use that.
It's on your list of accusations.
I think that she had in the past.
And that's just a fact that we offer to the court. It's not anything that to be used against you or her or anyone.
Well, when it says upon belief, information and belief, it's not a fact.
Those are things that we believe to be true at the right
time. Right. You believe it based on no real evidence, is what I'm understanding.
We have reasonable belief to have that in the petition.
Yeah, before we move on, you mentioned that she was in therapy. Where is that with?
I gave it all to, is Cumberland County not submitting anything to you?
Cumberland County has had contact with us, but again, this is just here for our meeting. I would just ask you.
Commonwealth Health, Miss Brandy Croom.
Miss Brandy Croom.
Yes.
So she's not on any medication?
None.
What are your other questions?
Questions basically about, Ms. Hines seems to indicate that Cumberland County somehow had contacted me and set things up, and that I was aware of this before the 7th of March, and I was not. There was no documentation. I'd like any documentation prior to March 7th indicating there was an issue or any correspondence between me and anyone, Cumberland, Sampson, anyone.
Well, I think what I was suggesting and stating is that there has been some communication from a report was received, and Cumberland County had began working on the assessment. And to my understanding, even as presented in court, there had been a time that Mr. Smith had gone out to your home.
Not to see me. And he talked to Cheyenne. I was in the shower, and Cheyenne was outside talking with him.
And I think, Mr. Davis, the bottom line is that Cumberland is doing the investigation. So if you have questions about how the investigation was done,
not really the investigation, but wasn't it Sampson who initiated it?
I initiated with Cheyenne, but Mr. Smith initiated the remainder of the case.
Right. Was there anything at all? Because she told me that day. And what date was that, by the way? There seems to be a confusion as to the date.
I can't recall right now. It was
28th, I think.
Possibly.
Yeah, 28th. And Cheyenne indicated that you had asked her a series of questions, told her there was no law enforcement involved, and that you had to write down each and every question and answer. Mm-hmm. And that she also indicated that there was nothing bad or derogatory at all that she told you. Is that correct?
Mr. Davis, at this time, I'm not going to discuss with you what Cheyenne and I discussed.
Not what she discussed, but was there anything that led you to believe she was in danger from that?
Not at that particular time.
Okay.
I did have concerns about some of the things that she said that was occurring in the home.
Okay. But you had nothing to lead that she was in immediate imminent danger?
I had reason to believe that there were things inappropriately occurring in the home. And she is a juvenile in that home. No, she did not make any direct derogatory comments about you, but she did disclose some disturbing things that were occurring in your home. Okay.
And she said they were disturbing to her or they were disturbing to you?
They were disturbing. But the things that she was saying to me, I find inappropriate.
But did she say they were disturbing to her?
She did not say they were disturbing.
Okay. So other than that, and I'm just asking for any paperwork that was done to initiate it prior to March 7th. That's all.
And Mr. Davis, we can't provide you with anything.
No, I mean legal paper. You know, when you file it into court for taking children, because as I said,
you have a copy of the summons.
I have a copy of the summons done on I think the 10th.
And this is the exhibit.
Yeah, filed on the 10th.
This is the paperwork that was filed in the court. This is the only paperwork that has been filed in the court.
So there's nothing else legal done until the 10th.
Whenever we took custody of the children on the 7th,
right.
The magistrate signed that paperwork that should be securely filed away at the court's office. And then on the following Monday, when a judge was available to sign the...
And that was after the fact of taking them, though.
Yeah, but a magistrate...
because Ms. Hines had told us on the scene that night that there was a judge in Cumberland County doing a petition, and we waited for 3 hours in a car for it, and it never materialized. on the
The
seventh.
judge
Because
decided,
at Cumberland County, we were assisting Cumberland County.
Right, but you said a judge was doing a petition in Cumberland County.
And I said petitions, hey, you kept asking about paperwork.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
said petitions are being drawn up. But not in Cumberland County. Cumberland County was producing the petition. They were securing petitions.
Okay. I didn't see their names on any of the signed papers. But
You
nonetheless,
won't see their names on the signed paperwork.
okay.
and Mr. Davis, you've referenced, if you are familiar now with our protective services manual, there's a whole policy in there.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about that. It said upon filing of the petition, the court shall schedule a hearing to be no less than 5 days after the service of the petition and summons.
What
on
I
the
was
response.
referring to is.
But what I'm saying is, your petition says the 10th and the court date was the 3rd. And I was here to get any kind of copies and I had to go run it down and I got it.
You're saying that the filing of the petition was when?
It says the 10th.
Okay, and then what? The hearing?
The first hearing date was the, 3 days later.
I don't know, because this is, part of this is what the judge fills out, or the clerk's office fills out. Can you direct me to what you're talking about?
Yeah, you have a document. Your petition and your first hearing dates are not properly done. Neither was I properly served with either one of them, including the last one.
What I have on here is the 13th.
Right. You file a petition on the 10th, and you have a court date on the 13th.
That's 3 days later.
And it says, upon filing of the petition, the court shall schedule a hearing to be held not less than 5 days after service of the petition and summons. Is that 5 days?
Not more than 5 days.
It said not less than.
Okay, but it was 3 days.
That's right, that's less than 5 days.
Exactly.
That's illegal.
No, you're saying, it says no less than 5 days. This was less than 5 days.
I understand that. It says, the court shall schedule a hearing to be held not less than 5 days. It was held less than 5 days.
That would be appropriate.
No.
Am I not here? Am I here?
Look at the highlighted one here, and I'd like to get everybody's agreement on whether or not the 3 days is less than 5 days.
Shall schedule a hearing to be held not less than 5 days. So no less than 5 days. So you have at least 5 days to have a hearing.
Right.
Okay. So
It can't be held
We held it on the,
13th, 3 days later.
that would be less than 5 days.
Correct. That is inappropriate. That's unlawful.
What would have been lawful to have it after 5 days?
It would have to be 5 or more days to prepare, not 3 days.
but look, and I understand your concern, I hear you.
No, that's a legal issue.
Well, and that's why you need to take it to court then.
But I'm saying that but there's many more questions here.
Okay, and again, Mr. Davis, we are not gonna
Do you
entertain
mind if I
that.
look at the phone?
Okay.
and
Sure.
Again, we are here today basically to talk with you about the foster care.
Okay, and this should be taken into consideration with the foster care, because somebody's misleading
Oh, he's
somebody.
reading under interference with an assessment.
No, that's the whole chapter 7B, it's the entire law.
Because we have 7 days, okay, the non.
Right, but you can't have one in 3 days and improperly service the respondent. That is the 506 form of Cheyenne Davis that's been on file, and nowhere in there does it show that she's a Croatan of the Croatan race. And there are special requirements when dealing with Aboriginal children, and it was not taken into consideration, and it's noted everywhere. It's filed with Sampson County, it's filed with the Department of Ed, and it's filed with the federal government.
Okay, and again, our agency with the,
Your intake form declares that as the second question to
Yeah,
a reporter, that must be asked.
it is, you're absolutely right, and we do follow through that, we have to, we're mandated by law.
The Croatan Indians of Sampson County,
is not acknowledged.
It is.
As a federally recognized, tribe, okay? But we will.
are you sure?
Yes, sir.
And not acknowledged as a North Carolina tribe either? Under,
Not a federally recognized tribe.
oh, but it is.
Under the Indian Act.
oh, but it is, ma'am, and I have,
Indian Act, it's not,
it is,
okay.
okay? Now,
Mr. Davis.
if you'd like to see birth certificates,
Okay, now, let me just bring you back to this, okay? We will make a copy of that, make it a part of our file, okay? But we're not here to dispute any of that, okay? We will follow the mandated policy, okay? And should we find out that she is within that federally recognized tribe, then we will, again, just...
It's any American Indian child, by the way.
It is, any American
And it
Indian child that
registered with
is
the...
recognized by the federal, it's a federally recognized tribe, Mr. Davis.
Can I finish
Yes,
a
sir.
complete sentence,
Yes,
please,
please.
Ms. Hines?
Is that right? Yeah.
The Secretary of State of North Carolina has the registered address of the Croatan Indians of Sampson County as 180 Pear Lane, her address. That's been filed for a long time. The North Carolina General Statutes, which are right here, continually mention us from, before there was a North Carolina and before there was a United States. And our genealogical list and evidence is provided everywhere. It's through several chapters of law. It's unambiguous, and indisputable.
And I'm not trying to dispute it, I'm just saying that it's not, within the federally recognized tribes. However, for our research, if we are in error, then we'll go back and do what we need to do, but the state mandates us, and we will.
And that's why the folded pages there are especially concerning. Those are the actual laws and your policies and procedures,
Okay.
none of which has been followed. That's why I feel like we're getting to the cart before the horse. And I've been neglected in every step of the process, and it's
But
clear.
we're here at the table.
I know, but Ms. Hines, would you let me speak? I know that you like to speak over me, but I would like to finish my train of thought.
Go right ahead.
I was called mentally ill in your complaint. Do you have any evidence that I'm mentally ill?
Mr. Davis,
I mean, that's just a yes or no question.
You may.
May I direct you back to the fact, Mr. Davis, that Cumberland County is completing this assessment?
But they didn't sign that
Let me
initiation.
finish, okay? This petition was drawn up by Cumberland County.
It was signed by Denise Johnson.
That's right, because if you reference our policy, the policy on conflicts, you'll understand.
It says either county can file that petition. It does, I'll show it to you.
We referenced that night, but at any rate, Cumberland County made the decision to file a petition in this case. So if you have questions about the investigation, you can direct those to Cumberland.
Okay,
We're here to talk
okay,
about
we'll just go by what you put in there, and it says on February 28th, there was a report filed. Is that right? According to what you have in your
I'm
hand?
not here to go through this petition, Mr. Davis. I think
So you're not here to answer my
we're here
question?
to answer your
regarding
question
the
about
petition.
false
What
claims.
can you answer my questions
False
regarding, and that's it. I can't ask any questions about Cheyenne or why she hadn't been. I want you to
You can ask
understand,
questions about Cheyenne. Yes, sir.
I want you to understand that I brought up here that I need to code to her phone because there's evidence in there for a case coming up April 1st in her phone. No one has gotten me that code. I did that on March 10th. I need the code to her phone to unlock it for evidence being used, that will be used to, as exculpatory evidence for myself in the resulting, somehow because I'm seatbelted in a car, I'm keeping DSS from cooperating with a law enforcement official or whatever it is that wouldn't identify himself, and that he had orders to do so.
Okay, so you're asking for the code. Mr. Chambers is a social worker. I'm certain he can get up with Cheyenne and
I need that
provide
pretty
you
quick
that
because it's in my own defense.
Okay, well, I'm certain he can get that information provided to you. But today, let's deal with the foster care concerns.
So all I can discuss is foster care.
Yes, sir. Anything regarding the allegations or the assessment?
Can I ask why Cumberland County then doesn't get back with me after I go there and they don't want to meet, but I ask for a copy and then suddenly people I've never seen before ask me into a meeting and then they're very belligerent. They make you feel coerced. They make you feel like you're threatened. You're under duress the entire time, and I want you to understand it. I feel like I'm being attacked. Well, the last time I felt this way by Sampson County was Russell Lee in the child support department over there, and he is the worst, most awful, hideous men as far as treating people and parents like a dog that I've ever seen in my life. And now I feel like the same thing is happening here. There's been your policy clearly states that you're to try and involve the parent, not to coerce them and
That's why
threaten
we're
them.
here today. We are.
But it's 21 days later, ma'am.
But we're here, Mr. Davis, okay? We're involving you at this point. So, and we're not gonna make any progress with any of it unless we all can come to terms to agree that we're here to do what's best.
I wasn't advised that I couldn't ask questions about the other stuff until now.
Well, I've advised you, so just put that on hold, direct it to Cumberland County, okay? Now, Mr. Chambers, would you like to go through the foster care quickly with Mr. Davis? Okay.
I have to say.
Mr. Davis, I'm gonna scoot down there where you are.
All right.
That way, we can talk.
All right.
Generally, the way this kind of rolls, once the case decision and all that stuff is Cumberland County, generally, once they get their case decisions and whatnot, they will send in to us recommendations based on the allegations and whatnot. And that's when foster care normally comes into play, after that point. And then we begin looking at...
Okay, so it's not something that's happening today, because that's the way I feel. Is my child is already...
Oh, no, me and you going to come up with some things that we can start working on together.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I want.
Okay.
Because I need to pick your brain a little bit in regards to Cheyenne.
Okay.
Because that's the only way that I am going to be able to...
I agree. I wish this had happened a long time ago, but...
You know, we're going to work on it today.
And what was your name?
My name is Ken. K-E-N.
All right, Ken.
C-H-A-M-B-E-R-S. What I try to do is to work with families, basically. I try to work with the foster families. I try to work with the parents, meaning you, yourself, biological parents. I try to work with the child. But the only way that I'm going to ever really get to know Cheyenne and know what some of her needs are is to have communication with her, which I will be doing soon. In fact, I'm going to try to go out there probably the first part of the week.
God, thank God. Yeah, that's good.
I have spoken with the foster parent, and I will tell you that Cheyenne is doing wonderful.
Yep, she's a great kid.
The foster parent has a child that is 1 year older than Cheyenne, female. She's a positive individual. She's involved with a lot of activities in school.
Yeah.
And that is rubbing off on Cheyenne.
Yeah. But Cheyenne is too. Her friends are in love with Cheyenne, and they care about Cheyenne. She's been through so much. It's very important to know what she's been through.
I understand. That's why I need
terrible
information from you so I can gather other information that I may not have right now from Cumberland County. Because it might be something pressing enough that I need to go ahead and say, okay, all right, she's being taken care of. I've already spoken to the foster parent about medical appointments, and that's
good.
That's routine for us.
That's good.
But what I need from you is, information is, what doctor, who was her primary care physician?
Hey, I agree. And I brought all of that and I didn't know to or anything, but...
because that's the only way that I can contact and get appointments set up. And I have reviewed her, some of her school information. She is an honor student.
Yep, she just got Beta Club.
Yep.
The day after they did this, she got the thing that she was accepted to the Beta Club. There's never been an issue with her.
School.
This is her.
And anything?
This is her, where she gets her contact.
Okay.
This is...
Helen Bridge. Okay. So, the optometrist, or this, yeah.
And so we did the crisis plans and safety plans because of what happened with her mother. We did those with Commonwealth Health already. We did several of them, and how you cope with things, and
I'll go speak with
there's her immunization record.
Can I get copies of that?
HPV, I do not want her getting that until I further investigate it, and Dr. Gretchen and I...
What would they do for HPV?
It's that human papilloma virus, but the lady who came out with it is for cervical cancer caused by viral infections from sexually induced behavior. But the thing about it is number one, it now is showing that it's killing individuals. there's a full list that I can get you of all appointments, because we've had many.
Well, my biggest thing is I need the medical provider, who she's been seeing. Do you have, what kind of insurance? Was she on Medicaid?
She was on Medicaid then, she just got back here, and this is Gretchen, this is her regular doctor.
Okay.
And they're all three, and you can go to Commonwealth Health. This one is, Brandy's and Kimberly Brunson treated her last, and Kimberly doesn't treat children, but because of me, she did.
Okay.
And, this was right whenever she had gotten back from her mother, and she gave her Prozac 10 milligrams for like 2 months, and then Cheyenne was over the trauma, what happened with her mother.
Is she currently on any type of medication?
No.
Okay, I think you had stated that. All right.
This is, and there's another report filed at UCare too, but this would be what you need to see to know what happened. This is the day after returning back from South Carolina. And there's a picture of us at UCare, because I tried to get protective orders at that time. You see some of the writing that's in here that was mine, but you also will find Cheyenne's writing, Cheyenne's understanding of what was going on. You will see all of the records from that,
okay,
as well as the medical reports.
All right. Do you mind if I make a copy?
No, I would love for you to make a copy, because that's the only way.
Mr. Davis, I know it's probably in that, but was Cheyenne abused at the hands of her mom?
Well,
Or
here's the thing. And this is what I tried to tell, and that's not your fault. And I know you think that, but I'm hit blindsided, Miss Hines. I am. But y'all would have to understand that my wife never had to work in 18 years. All she had to do was take care of the children. And abruptly, in August of 2012, she just took off and was gone with Cheyenne. I couldn't get any information. On December 21st, when I went and picked Cheyenne up, Cheyenne advised me that at the funeral in August in Virginia, this is all about wills and money, that Teresa, it was Teresa's stepfather. But I wasn't there. I wasn't allowed to go to this. But anyway, 4 of them had plotted to kill me in front of Cheyenne. And then she went on to tell me that while she was down there, and everything is documented in every way, Teresa would left her alone in a camper in the backyard of Desiree, her daughter's place, left Cheyenne alone there day after day after day, and Cheyenne worried about where she was. She didn't know where her mother was. She told her to quit school and get a job, took her to an ice cream shop to get that job. I had no idea now. I was no contact. And this is on the 21st, I find out, and it's in these medical records, right here, and that she was showing her Facebook pictures and pictures texted to her of men that Teresa, her mother, was meeting in parking lots for paid sex. She told her to pierce herself, color her hair, do drugs, have sex, anything else that she wanted to do. And Cheyenne had cut herself 350 times, and it really was scratches, and carved the word failure into her leg. I was paralyzed all the way for a 5-hour ride from there back to here, Miss Hines. And I had no idea. I stopped there, and you'll see everything that the psychologist from Cape Fear Valley did. And they took her and said, we've got to put her into here. And as soon, I didn't sleep all night. I'm sitting there, and as soon as we got out of there, we went to UCare. I found out, and I wouldn't have known because I didn't know the doctors can't tell you what your daughter just said back there. You have to get, and the nurse said, if I were you, I'd probably request the medical records. I said, what? Well, to be sure, I would just request them.
Because you're the father.
You would think that that is not true. That's the only reason I knew this time anything was going on with Cheyenne, because I went to Sampson Regional and asked for medical records, and then I found out, and the things that are in there are absolutely crazy. They are crazy. And Cheyenne, hey, she did wonderfully whenever she was there. But when you read this and you read what happens in here, in Cheyenne's own word as well, it's horrible what she went through, Miss Hines, and I am her it terrified me.
How old was she with?
Only a little over 3 months, 4 months.
With Miss Teresa?
Like 3 or 4 months, that was it. And Cheyenne's poems even go into it. And the one about that I showed the judge the other day in court about Dad and everything, it tells you what she thinks of me. And my heart has been ripped out because Cheyenne is not fragile by any means. She's not dependent upon me for a living or anything. But Cheyenne counts on her father being there always. I'm there when she gets off that bus. I'm there every time she needs something. We spend most of the time at the beach every weekend, and during the summer, that's where we'll be if we don't move there. I'm pretty much, we had decided to just move to Onslow County to the beach house and stay there. This is just too much. And trying to help others out, I have worked diligently with others, a lot of children. I've been a mentor all my life, and member of organizations that do that. I'm CPR certified. I have no criminal history against me. I have no traffic tickets or anything against me. I'm not a riffraff from the street, and I'm definitely not mentally ill. Now, her mother, did she have me committed by a magistrate down here? Oh, yeah. And that's whenever she takes Cheyenne and dumps every account that I have. Every single one. The woman is something. But she also did the same thing to her own stepdaughter. They do that. And in Sampson, because of this magistrate situation, you can just go say somebody's crazy and off you go. You know what I mean?
Stepdaughter?
Desiree Davis. I adopted Desiree whenever she was 4. When she was 4, she couldn't speak right. Teresa and Teresa's mother, that is Cheyenne's mother, had told this little girl, and this is when I first met Teresa in 95, and then later we got married, that she introduced me to this little girl as her sister, and it was her daughter. I had to go, her mother, Cheyenne's grandmother would be on that side, and Teresa had told them that Teresa, the real mother, is the sister, and that the grandmother was the mother. And I said, have you lost your mind? This is going to be the angriest child in the world when she grows up. So Teresa had signed over custody to her grandmother because Teresa was running wild, I guess, in the past. And I had to go to Dr. Toria, Pinehurst Psychological. I was evaluated. I was financially evaluated psychologically, and drug tested, and I won custody of her daughter away from her and her own parents. The grandparent. She was 4. And from that point, I got guardianship of her in a Virginia court where the lawyer and the judge was her grandmother's lawyer and judge, and that was very difficult. And I drove from here, North Carolina, back and forth, because I lived up there at one time, but I was running operations out of Rockingham and Sherrill. And at that time, Dr. Toy over there said, I can tell you, you have an angry child if you don't get this straightened out. Well, from that point, Desiree, by 10th grade at Midway High School, had earned the Science and Math Scholarship, Governor's School. 2 years, her last 2 years of high school would have been to go to the school in Raleigh, and a 4-year ride was already done, and $250,000 in inheritance. That's how fast she grew. And she left and then went straight down to there, out of school one day, and I went down there and got her back because she was with a boy. And once I got her back, then she went back again, and since then, she puts the most disparaging things on here about Cheyenne, everything else. She had a baby, and then now she's married to a 52-year-old man at 20 years old.
Where's this?
That's the same place Teresa is.
Is she with her mom?
Yeah, and see, Teresa, in 2012, they put a camper in the backyard of Desiree's house, and that's where she would leave Cheyenne to babysit the children and everything, and there was a CPS thing. Desiree has 2 children, one with a 52-year-old and one with someone else. And you see, CPS did the full investigation in, but Teresa got out of it because she said, no, she's going to always be staying there. She sent me several things. She never wanted Cheyenne, not in the first place. She's had no contact with her, wouldn't send any of that child's stuff, wouldn't send her Social Security card, which I had to go twice to get her little driver's permit, which we just got. Wouldn't send her clothing articles, dumped her accounts, her personal bank accounts for all my kids. She dumped all of those. It's not been a situation. Every dad's not bad because he's a dad. And I assure you that Cheyenne will tell you that when you meet her, she will tell you, am I eccentric? Am I further ahead and am I studious about certain knowledge of things and about keeping things together? Yeah, I am. Am I ADD? I was all my life. They told me I was mischievous and fidgety. I'll show you my grade, and this time you say, my God, boy, you barely got this. But I barely squeaked through, but on my competency test, I missed one question, and on my ASVAB for the Army, I missed one question. out of 240. The reason why is I can focus in on one thing if I'm there, but nobody ever diagnosed me with this ADHD until I was 40 years old. And you know how I made it that far? The doctor said, well, son, how in the world did you make it that far? And the type of, you're in the most, I was a stockbroker, engineer for aircraft, including FAR Part 90 and 120, did everything. Engineered the interior for the Redskins, Jack Kent Cook, Perry Brooks, Gunnar Jurgensen, Sonny Jurgensen, these are my friends. I may have grew up here, but I left here at 18 and I went to D.C. and made some pretty good friends. I'm a member of the Masonic Order in the only temple, the Masonic National Temple that George Washington was a member of, and I've been in his lodge, and that's my lodge in Alexandria, Virginia. There's only 600 of us, and you do not get in there by being a knucklehead or doing something ridiculous. You are for widows, children, and I'm a protector. I promise you that this has been the most awful thing to go through and be smeared like this, but
Well, Mr. Davis, we're not trying to smear you, okay?
it felt that way, though. And I know you are protect. I want to protect.
It's feeling like that, but look, we're not about disrupting things. We don't want that.
It felt that way a lot, especially, you know, this officer tried to run over us in my own yard, and they did 5 or 6 safety checks within 30 minutes in my house on that night. And then when I'm on the phone with Cheyenne called down here, and the 911 calls and communicates, she said, are y'all going to keep sending these officers every 5 minutes? Mm-hmm. And they said, you need to stay there, an unknown agency. Now let me explain to you, and you can come to my house and see it. Here's the main road, and this goes, it's been in our family forever. This is all woods, all out here, so here's our driveway, and it's over 1/10 of a mile. You can't even see back there from out here. And these judges are coming and coming and coming and coming, and then nobody got any identification or anything else. And then when we say, okay, and they're like, oh, everything's okay, oh, everything's okay. Every 5 minutes. And then this officer says, well, I'm going to ask you to say that. I said, look, he wouldn't tell me who he was. I'm thinking, wait a minute. I said, look, I'm getting out here getting to a safe place.
Still didn't show you that.
No. It's on the video, even when that officer from Hampton County saying to Maria, or whatever his name, pulls me over right here. He don't cut on any lights until then. I pull right into this. Cheyenne's on the phone making a 911 call at the same time. Her Facebook page documents minute by minute. And she says, look, and it was Officer Eric Pope that 1 week earlier we sat and watched because there's an officer or somebody from Hampton County pulling people over. And Eric Pope, 1 week earlier, February 28th, okay, had sit there and said, you don't have to pull over right then. Well, we don't get any, there's Highway 13, we don't get any lights to here, we pull in here, and then he, under a light while Cheyenne's telling, we did everything properly, and then these judges have got me for failing for a blue light. He tried it all over. Mm-hmm. But we gotta understand, this is not even in the realm of being normal behavior for people to do to other people. Okay. And I would be crazy or mentally ill, as y'all put in this thing, if I put anything this bizarre out there and it not be true.
Well, now, first of all, Mr. Davis, let me get back to this mentally ill. Nobody said that you were mentally ill. I think
it's on that order.
Well, and I'm again just listening to where it was in court. I think Cumberland County indicated that they had some information that there was some belief that you had been committed.
No, that's not at all. That's not at all. See, anything that I do, I file, I document. There's even my visitor pass for Cheyenne on 12. Believe me when I tell you my stuff is documented. It's documented in my act program as to what hour and minute. I've been through several.
Mr. Chambers had started, again, Mr. Davis, Mr. Chambers had started talking to you about our end and what we're planning to do in regards to put services in place and continue for Cheyenne as well as for yourself if needed. Mr. Chambers, Mr. Davis is probably already aware of the court system and the various non-secure hearings we've had. The next, I think, is the
and let me show you what
hearing is. What is it, April the 24th?
Yes, ma'am.
But at that time, then, as just stated to you, Mr. Davis, you'll be able to put your evidence and information on to see whether or not you will be adjudicated.
Right,
or
but see, I wanna just make something clear, that I go there every day and get these copies. This copy was served on me, and it's got literally whiteout tape on it. Whiteout tape, right there, and then Felicia's name was wrote in there. Then it's got,
Because wasn't there a correction made?
no, but see, it doesn't match any of the other ones.
Okay.
Then you have, they put Nancy Baldwin's date of birth on here, on Felicia's stuff. Then you have one notice of hearing, then you have another order for non-secure custody, but you only have one petition. And you know something, when you've got 14 pieces of paper that were all filed on March 10th at 10:34 a.m. exactly to the moment, but each single one of them, no matter when the date is, they're all filed at the exact same moment in that courthouse, we have an issue. We have what's called a mathematical improbability issue. Then, you see, it does say on here, or it is directly on there, that, let's see, I think it's on your petition. Whatever that one is. They just didn't give me the petition that day. I still find it though. And I think it's very important to know that how these things, the behavior of the parents and the concerns regarding the mental health of respondent father. That's what's on there in the order for non-secure care. Now, the behavior what? When I'm trying to protect my child from people that won't identify themselves, I'm going to do that every time. And if it's about the fact that I worship the Lord Jesus Christ, I'm going to do that in everybody's face. I don't care. And I have a right to do so. But there's nothing in that that makes me mentally ill. And any man that will let somebody take a child after what Cheyenne and I have been through and the abuse she's been through that she's overcame and then doesn't get upset, he's no man.
I'm not going to dispute that. I understand your concerns and your, but I hope you understand where we are at in this.
I don't.
Okay?
I don't see where you have probable cause or reason, and I also know your rules, and inside here, before you take a child, there's extreme warnings and dire consequences for the violation of Fourth Amendment rights and also the Indian Child Welfare Act. And I can tell you I'm a lot smarter than I've ever let on anyone down here and have a lot more connections, and this is not going to end up good if I continually am being treated in a way that makes me feel duressed, being coerced or threatened.
Well, how are we making you feel duressed and threatened?
Because I had no indication whatsoever that my child was under any kind of a thing or that I had any threat until March 7th when a series of police actions are taken against me illegally at my house, and then I'm almost ran over in front of my children in the car, and then I'm held and the man won't tell me who he is for 3 hours.
But Mr. Davis, that's something that you may want to take issue with, but it's
I
not
do.
with our agency.
No, but it's how I feel. You ask me how would I feel duressed, and then whenever I read the thing from Mobile Crisis, this is part of the medical records. It's very, very concerning, and let me tell you why. Because Cheyenne was taken by a male officer, illegal. Left the scene with a male officer. You had told me that we could follow y'all to down here with the kids in the car. Mm-hmm. And I said, I can't promise you I'll do that because I want to talk to a tape. But you were going to let me read.
That was the reason that they did not allow you to, because you said, again.
I said, but I'm going to stop and see a lawyer on the way. But I want you to understand that you were saying that I was okay to leave that scene with the children in the car and drive, and they were okay with leaving me, although after the 3-hour period, they arrest me for something that I did, and then you say I'm mentally ill. Why would you let a crazed maniac criminal leave the scene with the children or agree to do so if, in fact, he's committed all of these crimes and he's mentally ill? That makes no sense to any jury. But we just go over here, and it says here that they're asking Cheyenne because they were investing in her father. She doesn't know why. She was drugged out of the car. She was. Because they were making her get out of the car. That something was going on in the home. That's what in other words, that's what whoever to do. That's that. But here's the things that concern me. 3 different male officers transported my daughter that night. And in the first case, she doesn't arrive at any hospital facility for 3 hours after the first officer took them. And there's several cases of convicted Sampson County abuse. And when you have an IDC order or just a 15-year-old girl with a male officer in a car, that is one of the worst and most hideous things that you can do as law enforcement or DSS. But it gets better, because this is where you say that DSS, this, that, and the other. Now, here's where you guys come in here, because it says, if consumer is not committable, then DSS will take her into custody and place her in foster care. That's on the 7th. So